In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to include the film border or rebate on your scans when scanning at home. Now, I've got some Fujifilm slide film here. If you have a closer look at this, what you'll see is a strip of orange lettering and also this nice black border that surrounds the image. Most scanners won't do that by default, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some workarounds and some tips and tricks to be able to do this using your scanner at home. Now, if you have one of these, this is a 35mm dedicated scanner, you're out of luck because it's actually not possible to crop these frames outwards. If you've got a flatbed scanner, you're in luck. The default frames don't allow for border scanning, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can get around this. I've got the stock Epson frame here, and if you'll look at this film area, it's just slightly too narrow for the border to be seen. So the idea is, instead of using this holder, I'm going to show you some alternatives and ways that you can either scan the negative directly on the glass, or actually I've got a better scanning holder which I'll show you in a bit, which allows you to scan it at the proper height. Now, the first of the options is the jankiest for sure. I got this square of anti-reflective glass from a picture framers. Now, the guy didn't even charge me. I went in asking for non-reflective glass and he seemed a bit confused. I told him it was for film scanning and he was like, I'll cut you the smallest shape. I asked for 5x4, said that it could just cover large format if I needed it. But I do not really use this anymore because I've upgraded. The idea of using picture frame glass is that it doesn't reflect as much light. So it can help you prevent Newton's rings. And it also gives you a slightly sharper image than having a kind of a frosted glass bit above it with imperfections. This is a little bit sketchy because obviously it is just cut glass. So you can see I have this kind of tape handle so that I can pick it up and see it a little bit safer. The idea is to take this and your negative and then lay it on the glass with the glass over it. This is really filthy, so I'm not actually going to use this because it will damage my negative. But cheapest option, I mean the free option, is to get some of this. You can even cannibalize a picture frame you own already, so if you're not using a picture frame, take the glass out, that could work. The next step up from picture framing glass is anti-Newton glass. Now this is ANR glass, and this has been chemically scoured on one side to prevent the forming of Newton's rings. If you don't know what Newton's rings are, they are very annoying, colorful patterns that appear when you're scanning directly on the flatbed. Now, I got this ANR glass, and this cost me almost £100. I bought it from America as part of a better scanning holder system. Obviously, this is a very large piece, but you can get smaller pieces. eBay is one place you can look. I'm grateful that I bought this large section instead of buying the 120 holders, because obviously I can do this with large format, 35mm, anything. This is easier. What you've got to do with this is you've got to check which side is the reflective, sort of glossy side and which side is the matte anti-Newton side. Now this is the anti-Newton side. I can tell because there's a slight graininess to the image that you see reflected in it. What I'm going to do is just place this over like that, let it flop down on the glass, being careful not to scratch anything. And I could scan this with obviously the whole flatbed, and that could have the borders. The last and fanciest option is to use a better scanning holder. Now this isn't a sponsored video, I bought one of these to use with large format, and I now use it for the kind of border scanning. This frame came with the ANR glass. So again, I'm going to check which is the matte side, and I'm going to lay it ANR glass down in the frame. Now this tray is going to go face down in the scanner. So what you want to do is you want to attach your film to the underside of it. And the way you do that is, let's just lay my glass off and leave that for a second, is to use clear tape. Now I'm using this Scotch tape, and I'm using it because it doesn't leave a residue, and also it's clear, so you can scan through it. It's not ideal. This is a new section, so let me see if I can get the tape going. There we go. This is a relatively simple process. What you're trying to do is keep your film as flat as you can on this surface. So what I'm going to do is take the negative, make sure it's face up, give it a little dust off because the cleaner the better. Okay, and with this, sometimes I find it easier to do this over the light table, just so that I can see where the black borders are. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take one bit of tape and just gently pin the top of the frame with it. There we go. And the second bit of tape is the hard bit, because what you're going to do here is tension the film. So take your corners. That's one. And two. And these bits of tape are going to pull both that way and also out so that the film is stretched taut against the surface. So what you're going to do is gently lay it down whilst pulling out on the corners and get those both down flat. Okay, here you go. Here's my taped 6x7 negative, positive in this case. So what I'm going to do now is lay this face down in the holder. At this point, some people like to put paper masks or sometimes plastic masks over this glass tray to prevent reflections coming in from the side. I'm going to risk it. Maybe I turn the lights out when I scan. So I'm going to lift this up and this just goes into the scanner like that. There we go. That's 3 ways you can scan your film without having to crop your borders off. If you're into that, then let's have a look at some example images. I've got this one on the left, which I've just demonstrated loading. Now this is with the holder. It is the more fancy, expensive way of doing things, but this gives me optimal sharpness, and also I can still use functions like the infrared dust reduction. On the right, I've got this example, which is directly scanned on the flatbed using the ANR glass. Now, slightly cheaper option, but I think the results are pretty good as well. Obviously on the left, we've got positive film, and on the right, we've got color negative, which is why the Kodak Portrait isn't quite as orange as the other stock. But if this is something you're interested in, then yeah, I guess you're now gonna be able to do it. Just choose the one that works best for you. I know celebrities like Drake are doing it, and you get those iPhone apps like Unfold that let you add the borders kind of fake, but if you want the real thing, yeah, use your scanner. Oof. Today's video has been a little bit of a whistle-stop tour through the whole film border scanning issue. If I've glossed over something, or you feel that I didn't mention enough about a certain topic, then please leave a comment. I will try and get back to that as quick as I can. Apart from that, yeah, I've been doing some other stuff, so if you want to subscribe, check out the YouTube channel, or even I'll link a video here, could be interesting. Apart from that, good luck with your scanning, enjoy the rest of your week, all that good stuff. Thanks.